It's a pick of the bunch if you're going to go any distance other than worrying about your fuel price.
Yeah.
You'd take this.
Yeah. All
But oh, geez, I've been happy with it. It's a really nice car. I love it.
Yeah.
Back with Ray and the last of his cars from the rest of the world. One thing you can say about Ray is he definitely likes his two doors, and he doesn't disappoint here. If you haven't seen it, there's another video featuring his overseas cars here on the V2 channel. But if it's Aussie built cars you're after, you need to head over to the Dave's Classic Garage Tours channel for all the Holden and Aussie Ford, Chrysler and Leyland motors he's got here. There's a link for that either at the end of this video or down in the description.
So I'm looking at a Mark
70.
1, 1970.
70?
Okay. 3 litre.
Yep.
Yeah.
V6.
So the British ones would have had a, I'm probably shouting, I don't need to, would have the 3000 badge, 3000 V6 badge.
Have a look at the back, on the back there, something like that, was it?
It just says V3000.
Oh, all right.
That's new. I've never seen that badge before. Yeah, no, I noticed like quite a few, you know, the Ford European stuff that gets sold over here. There's different, you know, different kind and whatever, different
Pretty much the same though. I think they came out assembled, didn't they?
Came out assembled?
Yeah, they did.
Oh, did they?
I don't know.
Well, they're small enough.
I don't know enough about them.
Yeah.
Actually, Capri's arrived down under in complete knockdown kits, not long after the car's January 1969 Brussels Motor Show launch. In order to overcome the high taxes imposed upon imported cars, a percentage of locally built parts were used at the Ford plant at Homebush in Sydney, where the CKD kits were assembled. Initially, Capri's came with the 1.6 Kent engine, but in February 1970, Ford Australia introduced the 3000 GT with a 3-litre Ford Essex V6 and 4-speed manual.
Ford, you are here today with the cars that say Ford will lead the way.
Today, reshape your life with Capri. All the luxury, performance and excitement of an expensive sports without the expense. See a Ford dealer and start a new life in Capri or Capri GT.
However, the Capri was short-lived in Australia, with assembly ceasing in November 1972 when the Australian-designed XA-Falcon hardtop came on stream. It was to return in 1974 though. 50 examples of the ultra-desirable RS3100 came to Australia, and it remains highly desirable to this day. It was an example of that car in 3.4-litre quad-cam 24-valve, producing around 440 brake horsepower from its Cosworth-fettled V6 engine and piloted by Alan Moffat. That saw much success between early 1975 to mid-1976 in the Australian Sports Sedan Championship.
That car was a mess when I got it.
Really?
Yeah. It was original red car.
Right.
And it was painted blue.
Oh, crikey.
And it had bog showing up in it in various places.
Yeah.
And I said, oh yeah, I got it pretty right.
Right.
Anyway, when I started cleaning the bog out, started drawing the bog out of it, it wasn't filling rust, it was just filling dents.
Right.
Whoever painted it just filled a
Couldn't be
hole,
bothered.
any dents in it, they filled up with bog.
Yeah.
And I had to grind it all out, but the body was near perfect. Yeah, and the bloke didn't believe me where I'd bought it off. I said, all that bog was just filling dents. He said, you're joking. I said, that's a perfect little body. They were telling me to watch for the door pillars because they rust out in the door pillars, but not this car.
Not this one, though.
Yeah. And it was blue. They'd painted it blue.
But is this the original colour?
Yeah, this was the original colour it is now, but it had been painted blue.
Yeah.
And it wasn't in very good condition. No. What am I doing here? I don't know how to open the monitor. I haven't opened it for ages. No, that way.
There we go.
Now all this under here was all painted with that fleck that you do in the back of the utes.
Right.
And in the boot too.
Oh, crikey. Oof.
And
What was that like getting that off?
Oh, geez. Took me hours. I scraped it all off with a chisel. I had a chisel about an inch wide. And I scraped it all off. It's the only way I could get it off.
Yeah, yeah.
You couldn't grind, as soon as you put a grinder on it, a sanding stone, it just clogged it up.
Right, yeah.
So I scraped it all off and painted the engine again, painted the engine back in.
Yeah.
And in the boot, I had to scrape it out of the boot as well.
So
Jesus, it's a big
pretty
job.
Sure, this is would what be called a Cologne engine. I'm pretty sure, but well, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, please.
I don't know.
But yeah, V6 Cologne.
The only thing I've done to this, I think I put a water pump on it once. The water pump started leaking.
Right.
Well, something happened down here when I had it out.
Yeah. Terrific, mate. Terrific.
I've looked under there for ages. That's been here for 20 years or more.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Bought off Laurie Nelson, the race car driver in Melbourne.
Yes,
Ever heard of Laurie Nelson?
Yeah, I've heard of Laurie. Yeah, I think I have.
Hell of a nice bloke.
God, this takes me back. Crikey, I've seen a few of these. Yeah.
It's 4-speed.
Yeah.
I retrimmed the front seats, but the back seats weren't too bad. It's dirty. Now look, you can see the dirt on the camera.
Dust, yeah. Dusty.
It's been clean for ages.
Right. Did you get this one out much?
No.
No.
I don't think it's run for about 3 years.
All right. How many miles has that gone? That'd be, that's miles. 29, bloody hell, is that? Do you reckon that's first time or second?
No,
That's gotta be
at least second time.
Yeah. Ah, lovely.
Yeah, it is.
All right, this is going to sound a little bit more. Oh, no, still. bit more of a whack I needed to do. I'll let you do that bit though.
What?
Give it a bit more of a thrum.
If you want to hear a nice door
Go
shut,
on
listen to this. Oof, I hit it. I threw it too hard.
What you got?
But it does shut really nicely.
It's like,
Yeah.
like the pet dog. Don't do what you want it to do, any. No, anyway, yeah, lovely XJ. This is early.
Yeah. It's a
78, this one, isn't it?
Yeah, 78. Yeah.
So yeah, 2 years into the run.
76 I started.
Yeah.
It was a bit plain when I got it. I had that Jaguar put down the side of it. And the paint touched up in a couple of spots.
Are they the original wheels? Hey, look.
No, the original wheels were in the boot.
Right.
I was going to take them off when I got the car, but everybody seems to like them, and I don't mind them myself, so they can stay there.
They look like like an older one, like an E-type.
They came from the original wheels are 15-inch, and these are 14.
Right.
The same wheels pattern as a HQ Holden.
Oh, right. Oh, really?
But that's a lovely car to drive.
You like driving this one?
Oh, it's a pick of the bunch. If you're going to go any distance other than worrying about your fuel price, you'd take this.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
the V12 before the HE came in 81, wasn't it? The bit more.
Had to do a bit of trim work on this.
God, those bumpers, blooming Americans with their stupid blooming 15 miles per hour, you were saying.
Yeah, well,
Kind of.
I got this cheap because the ad for this in the paper, it was advertised in the local paper. XJS Jaguar, silver, runs. That was the ad.
Right.
Didn't say how good it was or how bad it was or, silver and it runs. So I never even went and looked at it. It was not very much anyway. And never bothered looking at it. I went all over the place looking for one. And every time I saw one, I went all the way to Bendigo to look at one. The guy told me how good it was over the phone. When I got there, it was a heap of junk. It was rusty everywhere. Yeah. And I said, I asked you about the rust. He said, it didn't have any rust. I said, what do you think this is? And he said, oh, it's only bubbles. Anyway, I come back and I said to my mate had one of these. After he had one, and I said, I think we should go and look at that one advertised in the Express. And he said, yeah, we should. So we got in the car and we went over. It wasn't far away, 20 minutes. Went and had a look at it. And it looked just like this, except I put the XJS Jaguar on it and a couple of paint things. And it sounded terrible. When he started up, it sounded awful. It sounded like there was something really wrong. And he'd been taking it here, there and everywhere, and he had receipts for guys for doing the injectors and all this sort of stuff. Ridiculous amounts of money.
Right.
And he said, I can't spend any more money on it. He said, I just don't know what's wrong with it. Nobody seems to know. Yeah. And anyway, I made him an offer and he said, oh, no, I couldn't take that for it. And I said, oh, it's all right. I said, mate, it's just that I don't know enough about Jaguar engines to know whether that's good, bad, or whether there's something really wrong or not. And he said, no, well, he said, neither does anybody else around here. Anyway, I had a mate of mine in Melbourne that's gone on really well. His wife was driving a Jaguar, and he'd had 2 or 3 of these. This is going back a long time now too. And I rang him up and I told him about it. He said, get it down here, I want to look at it. Anyway, I said, yeah, well, I said, I'm really reluctant about paying. Anyway, the phone rings and it's a guy. And he said, how would you pay for it? I said, pay you in cash when I come pick it up. And he said, when could you do that? And I said, do it tomorrow if you want. And he said, all right, he said, I've got to get rid of it. This haven't any other offers. I said, righto. So I've got a little truck out there, fronted up down there with the truck, paid him for it, and put it on the truck and took it straight to Melbourne to the main, Graham Lewis. Anyway, I left it with him, and I drove away. I hadn't gone 10 minutes, and he rings me up. He said, I found what's wrong with it. I said, you're joking? He said, no. He said, 2 injectors aren't firing at all. I said, he's given me a receipt for having the injectors done. He said, these injectors haven't been done in this car. And I said, oh, you're joking. Anyway, I said, Graham, do what you got to do. So anyway, he rings me up 3 or 4 days later and said, you had the injectors done, it's running really nice. It's ready to go. I said, and then he started telling me things that were wrong. He said, I don't know, I can see this. And, Graham, I said, mate, fix it. Pretend it's yours. I said, just do whatever needs doing.
Common theme with you, right?
Anyway, he found $3,000 worth of work to do on it, underneath mostly.
Yeah.
Some of the problems, the bolts were coming out of the engine mounts.
Right, okay.
And they'd been loose for a while and they'd elongated the holes, so the holes had to be drilled out and retapped. Yeah. You're talking about V12 Jaguar. So I reckon I got out of it pretty light, $3,000, and I only paid $9 for it or something like that. So,
it's funny, I mean, obviously, you know, I'm used to, I mean, these things, crikey, you pick them up for peanuts back in a few years ago, back in the UK, because the majority of them, I mean, the amount of ones that would be left that would be in decent condition would be very, very few and far between. But it's wonderful to see now, because I've always loved the bloody shirt, but, you know, they got so pissed on by, you know, because they weren't an E-Type or they weren't a sports car, they were a Grand Tourer or whatever. The shape wasn't, you know, appreciated. But nowadays, I mean, people are looking back on these now and going, it's a bloody beautiful, you know, beautiful bit of design. And it's, of course, it's the last one. William Lyons, the boss man of the owner, had any influence on the design.
But the people, they are now today afraid of the V12.
Well, of course, yeah.
And the straight 6-cylinder one sells better than the V12.
Yeah. Well, I was up at Jag Dane the other day, up in Melbourne.
Melbourne, yeah.
Yeah, and he's you know, you're basically saying you're blinking nuts to buy a Jaguar, whatever denomination it is, without a Jaguar specialist coming to look at it for you first. Especially a bloody great V12.
Yeah, but it depends what you pay for it. You know, what's the price I paid for this? I've done a fair bit of trim in it too. I think I had trouble with the back seats at the back. I had something on the back seat, and it stuck to it, or sort of welded itself onto the leather. And I had a guy in Warragul do that. That's really good with this sort of stuff.
All right.
But oh, geez, I've been happy with it. It's a really nice car. I love it.
Yeah.
Clunk.
The wife enjoys going out in this one, does she? Or
No,
the-
she hasn't been in this. has
Oh,
she?
really?
No,
No?
she's
No?
never been anywhere in it. She,
Oh,
she likes driving her Magna. I want to buy her a new one, or something new, because she's driving her 2005 Magna, one of the last of the
Oh,
Magna
right, yeah,
wagons.
yeah.
And it's done 200,000.
Yeah.
And we've had 6 Magnas between the two of us
Right.
over the last few years. You know, she's always had one, I've always had. Anyway, only a little while ago I said to her, I think we should get you a new car. What for? I said, well, it's 20-year-old, love, you know. No, I don't want a new car. We're going to fix this one. If something goes wrong with it, we're going to fix it.
Right.
I said, right.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
She loves it. She knows where everything is and everything works, the
yeah,
air conditioner, you know.
Yeah. All right. Well, this is something a bit different.
Something a bit
Completely
different,
yeah. What brought you to go in?
It was advertised in one of the magazine, car magazine, for $12,000.
Right.
And I said, I've got to go and look at it. I went to Melbourne. It was out on the northwestern suburbs. I can't think. Plenty it was.
Yeah.
And I went and looked at. I looked at 2. There was 2 advertised at the same time. This one, V6 5-speed. There was a V6 turbo automatic advertised at the same time. Almost a twin car to this. And I went and looked at that and drove it, and it was a fair bit dearer than this. I think this was 12 and it was 16 or 16 or 17 or something. Anyway, I drove it and it was quite nice to drive, but when I got out there and saw this and drove this, I thought, I want the manual to start with,
Yeah.
and I don't want the worry of a bloody turbocharger on it. Thanks.
Okay.
Because I had a Charger with a turbocharger on it once upon a time, and it was always blowing seals or doing something.
All right. Yeah.
So I settled on this rather than the turbocharged one, and Jesus, it's a nice car.
Yeah.
And
well,
I made him an offer, and he said, no, can't take that. And anyway, I rang him back, and when I got home, I rang him back and upped the price $1,000. I can't remember what it was. I think he wanted 12, and I offered him 10, I think. But anyway, that's beside the point. So I rang him back, and he said, oh, no, it's not. He said, hang on, I'll go and talk to my wife. So he went and talked to my wife, and he said, when could we get the money? And I said, well, I'll bring it down, and I'm down the truck tomorrow and pick it up and give you the money. He said, oh, yeah, righto. He said, we're building a new house, we need the money.
Right.
I said, righto. And Jesus, I've never been sorry for 1 minute.
Yeah. That's a lovely looking thing.
It's really, good to drive.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
But I never been into buying Japanese cars at all.
You've never.
Never been into Japanese cars.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So what is it? What's the styling or what?
Eh?
What was it? The styling of the car or what?
This?
Yeah.
Yeah, that I liked.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I always liked the look of them.
Right. I love that detail, the electronics and everything in these cars. So this hasn't got the. Has it got this electronic dash?
I don't know what you're talking about.
The digital dash.
No.
No, it's got the thing. I think they were the. What year's this one?
85.
Oh right, okay. So because some of these had the digital dash on them.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know much about them at all. I just like the look of it. The price was right.
Yeah.
Went and bought it.
That's lovely. That's beautiful.
I had a bit of trouble getting a roadworthy for it to get it registered.
Oh yeah.
He had it on club plates.
Yeah.
And I take it up, my mate up the road here to get it. He said the heater, the mister doesn't work. And I said, oh, well, I said, does it matter? He said, oh, it's got to work.
What's that got to do with the bloody roadworthy?
Eh?
What's that got to do with the
Oh,
roadworthy?
well, it's got to have the demister and that, you know.
Oh, really? Right.
Anyway, it's part of the roadworthy. Anyway, when we tracked it all down, it needed a heater tap.
Right.
I'm going to try and buy a heater tap for one of these.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're even drinking England and, trying to get one sent out from England. I reckon England, I was no good trying to get one from Japan because they throw it all away.
Right.
They don't keep it. Anyway, I rang this Laurie Nelson that I bought that Capri from because I knew that he'd wrecked some. And I said, have you got a heater tap for a heater for the 300ZX? And he said, oh, I would have. And I said, well, what do you mean you would have? Have you got one or haven't you? I said, I want one. And he said, oh, I'll have to ring you back. He said, I'll have to look for it. And I said, righto. And a couple of days or so later, he rang back. He said, I found the heater tap. And I said, oh, righto, good. So I get in the car and go down there, and he lives at St Andrews, right out the north of.
Oh, yeah.
So I got in the car and go down there to get it because the car's sitting up there waiting to get a road ready. Yeah. And he said, when I got there, he had one in each hand. He said, I've got two. You take your pick. I said, how much are they? He said, $50 each. I said, I love them both. Well, I'm not going through all this again.
Yeah, sure.
And the other one's just in the top drawer of that little thing there, wrapped in a bit of plastic. So we put the heater tap on it and got the roadworthy and put it on club plates.
Well, mate, unbelievably, we've done them all, eh?
Have you?
We've done them all. Oh, no, I'll tell you what.
Did you? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we've done the Valiant. Yeah. We're going to go, even though I generally cut off at 1999.
Oh, right.
But we'll go and have a look at the new Monaro.
Right, that's 2003.
Okay.
I had a black one beforehand that used to belong to my cousin.